All of our organizations have silos to some degree. We all have fragmentation. It's a natural byproduct of scale. Things pull apart. But what we found is that those silos are more than just an organizational annoyance. This was probably the biggest surprise in the findings. When those seams, sales and marketing, supply chain operations, R&D and innovation, when those intersections where true competitive value is mostly created, when there's nothing but rivalry there, you are 6 times more likely to have people be dishonest. Because once you fragment the organization, you now fragment the truth. And so when you have dueling truths, my goal is no longer a single source of truth. My goal is very simple, to show you that I'm right and you're wrong. But when those themes are stitched well, when there's a context for that conflict to be held well and resolved, when there's a bigger story we both feel part of, when there's a we instead of a we and a they, now you're 6 times more likely to have people be honest and tell the truth. Because now I feel part of a bigger story. Now I understand how 1 + 1 = 3. But most organizations allow those seams to remain unstitched and siloed. And there's a huge risk in doing that.
Yeah, and what I find that while we've got to find a way to structure ourselves, right? But a lot, and I don't know if you see this, but what we find is a lot of times the silos are just ingrained in our brains, and it prevents people from acting in ways that really is aligned with the ideas in that chapter around reaching out and either stitching the seams where they're frayed, where they're coming apart, or where they're just not even connected by any means. Because like you, I completely agree. The opportunity that's lost, the money left on the table, how it erodes execution and driving results is really not fully appreciated. Certainly coming in outside as an external, you see it, but a lot of times they don't. And I'm sure you see that with your own clients that you serve.
I mean, human beings are naturally tribalistic. That's just how we're wired. And we define the tribe as whatever the affinity is. And the smaller the affinity, the more rivals we have. And of course, tribes can be at war with each other. They can also cooperate. As humans, we're the only species that can actually cooperate with other tribes. What we have to learn to do is expand the definition of our we. And so what I ask my clients all the time is, who's your they? Who's the person that shows up in your caller ID, and when they do, you roll your eyes and then go, gosh, what do they want? Or you see them coming down the hall and you get tense. The other question you have to answer is, whose they are you? Because there's somebody that finds you to be the biggest pain in their neck of their day. What are you doing to make their life miserable that you don't even know you're doing? Get on the phone with one of your theys, arrange for a coffee or a lunch, and just simply say, our people are watching us. We're making their lives hell because we haven't figured out how to get along better. We can do better. What can I do to be a better colleague to you? How can I make your life less stressful? And just build a bridge. That's what great leaders do. They create breadth. They see the organization as a whole, not as greater than the sum of its parts, not just their own part.
Yeah, and what I really loved in there was when you're reaching out is having a conversation of what is the shared value we need to create together. Because then you make it about the business, the company, the organization, and who you're there to serve. And that's a powerful conversation to have with a colleague, where the relationship may not exist, may be strained, or just is absent because you haven't paid attention to it.
Most of us start with the assumption that mine is the important function. I'm the center of the universe, and whatever you do is superfluous to that. No competitive asset in an organization exists within any one single set of walls. Innovation, as a competitive differentiator, is the byproduct of customer analytics and R&D and marketing. Customer service is the intersection of supply chain, logistics, and service. Sales or high growth or high impact customer impact is the combination of growth, financial analytics, and market intelligence. It's the combination of these functional assets that create a true organizational capability, and you have to see yourself as part of a bigger story. And you have to just start with the conclusion that apart from those things, I'm useless. And it's only in combination of those things that I can really create great value and lasting value. I ought to figure out how to make sure I'm doing that.